John Lennon didn't create the Nowhere Man as a fictional character, he was writing about himself. Late in the sessions for Rubber Soul, Lennon spent roughly 5 hours at his home in Weybridge trying to force out a song that felt worthwhile, but nothing came. So, frustrated, he finally stopped working and lay down. Only after giving up did the central idea appear: a man sitting alone, accomplishing nothing and heading nowhere. Lennon later remembered the words and music arriving together, although Paul recalled helping with a few small lyrical touches. The song was less an invented story than an uncomfortable personal diagnosis. And this was a strange feeling for someone who had become one of the most famous people alive. Lennon had money, a wife, a young son, and a large mock Tudor house called Kenwood, yet his life there could be remarkably isolated. A newspaper profile, written a few months after the song, described the married Beatles living quietly around Weybridge, rarely going outdoors, watching television late into the night, and losing track of ordinary bedtimes, meals, and even the days of the week. When McCartney arrived to work with Lennon after Nowhere Man had been started, he found him bleary-eyed and asleep on a couch. McCartney later believed the song reflected Lennon's unhappiness with his home life and marriage, though that remained McCartney's interpretation rather than something Lennon directly confirmed. The finished lyric hides Lennon behind a third-person character before quietly admitting that the same aimlessness might belong to everyone. That small turn prevented the song from becoming nothing more than Lennon attacking himself. It also made Nowhere Man one of the Beatles' earliest released songs with no romantic storyline at its center. There wasn't a girl to win, lose, chase, or apologize to. Instead, Lennon wrote about isolation, indecision, and the fear of wasting one's life. McCartney described it as an anti-John song because Lennon seemed to be examining his own worst habits from across the room. The result was personal without requiring listeners to know anything about Lennon's actual circumstances. The Beatles recorded the song at EMI Studios on October 21st and 22nd, 1965, and their first attempt produced a false start and an incomplete version that they abandoned. The following day they began again, recorded 3 new backing tracks, and selected take 4 for the finished record. Lennon, McCartney, and George Harrison then built the unusually clean 3-part harmonies, while Lennon and Harrison added the electric guitar parts using matching sonic blue Fender Stratocasters. The bright guitar sound required some rule bending. Paul remembered the band demanding more treble even after the engineer had turned the available control all the way up, so the signal was routed through additional channels and boosted again. EMI's careful technicians were being asked to use their mixing desk in ways its designers had probably never intended. Nowhere Man appeared on the British version of Rubber Soul on December 3, 1965, but Capitol removed it from the original American album and released it as a single on February 21, 1966. It later became almost comically literal in Yellow Submarine, where the Beatles perform it for Jeremy Hillary Boob, a lonely creature they discover in a place called Nowhere Land. Behind that colorful cartoon scene, however, was a real moment of exhaustion in Lennon's quiet suburban home. One of his clearest songs about having no direction arrived only when he stopped forcing himself to find one.